Welcome back to the Hit Factor podcast. That was a long countdown. It counts down from 5, and it felt like 10 seconds at least to me. Um,
I think
I'm
like
joined.
3 seconds would probably suffice for a
3
countdown.
would do. 5 just seems like a really long way to go. It's
We
like
had
I
a
hit the
nice
record.
we had a
Yeah, I
nice
hit the
little
record
moment where
button.
we could like make eye contact for a couple seconds, So that was nice. I
It
enjoyed that.
it was a good moment. It was a
Yeah.
good moment. Anyway, the Hit Factor podcast. I also should say, so Jeremy doesn't get mad at me. My name is Jay Beal, and I'm hosting this show right now. And I am joined by Sam Matt, not Matt Sam, nothing else like that. It's Sam, and your last name is Matt. Is that correct?
That's right. So everyone makes fun of me for having 2 first names, and I was telling, well, it's 3 technically if you count my middle name too. So
Ooh, yeah. What's your middle name? You
Henry.
don't have to say Henry.
Henry, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So
So yeah, no, it's Jeremy always gets it wrong. He'll be like reading names off of practice score, and he'll be like, and Matt Sam, who I don't know who that is, and then he'll be like, I'm like, it's not even right. It's not even right. Um, so I I first saw your stuff before we shot Area One in the spring, and I was like, oh wait, no, I saw your stuff on Charlie Cox his YouTube channel
okay.
because you did some stuff with him, and he did like Nerfa GM
Yeah.
videos, and I remember watching that video and seeing you shoot just like random guns and shoot them very, very well. And I was like, dang, Sam's like really fast, and he keeps on shooting these runs are like a couple Charlie, and I was very impressed. And so then when I saw we were squatting together for Area One, I was pretty excited to shoot with you, and you did not disappoint the excitement level. And then we went to nationals, and you not a surprise to me, but maybe to other people who didn't know who you were, you finished fifth in Carry Optics Nationals 2025. Um, and that was very impressive in that field, obviously, and doing that well in that division. And I'll let you talk here in a second because I can just blab on forever. And you've only been in this sport for a few years, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So let's get into that. I want to hear a little bit. And we'll just keep it short because I think you've done a couple other podcasts, maybe there's some more background there. And so I want to get into the training and competing and stuff. But when did you start shooting USPSA? When did you shoot your first match?
My first match was April 2023.
So 20, yeah, very, very quick progression to becoming top 5 in the US. And I think that's hard to do, but there are people who are doing this. I mean, you are among a few that have gotten really good in the past couple of years, and I think we're just going to keep seeing that from different people. And so that's why I find you to be interesting to talk to because of that progression, but also just because of your attitude at matches. So you shot April 2023. You shot a USPSA match,
Yeah.
and then was it instant after that? Did you know you were going to do this? What was it like?
So I showed up to that match, um, and it's Nampa Rod and Gun Club, which is where we shot Area 1. That's my local club. So showed up for my first match, and everyone's getting there an hour early to set up. And I remember walking into the bay, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know what I was like supposed to do, like with my bag or anything, and was instantly greeted by 2 or 3 people. Everyone was super friendly, and halfway through building this stage, and it wasn't even like, looking back, it wasn't even a very good stage. It was it was cold that day. It was raining. It was kind of a quick and easy stage type of thing. But I remember looking at the stage, like seeing the walls go up, putting the fault lines down. I was like, okay, this is way better than anything I've ever gotten to shoot before. Like this is super cool. So I remember just having a ton of fun. And kind of my goal was like, okay, try not to forget any targets, don't get DQ'd, and make it through the match. And after shooting that first match, I was hooked. Like it was just so much fun, and it instantly gave me like, it sort of just like opened my eyes to what I was missing, um, and really showed me like there was so much more to this shooting thing, to where you could, just so much more to work on than what I even really knew was out there.
Yeah, yeah. I think I remember a similar thing just with because I was doing a lot of like stand and shoot stuff, and I was like, well, I'm pretty good at this. And then I remember going to a match, and because every stage is different and everything's new, you're it's just never ending. The things that you see for improvement are just uh they're always there. And so yeah, super exciting. Okay, so you then did you set a goal after that to was it did you to class up, or was it to like when what was that like for goal setting for you early on?
So my goal initially was like, I was like, okay, like I conceal carry a gun on the daily. I want to be better with it. So that was kind of what had driven my training up until that point. And I had heard about USPSA sort of from that sort of realm, saying like, hey, like guys, if you want to really step up your game, you should go check out a USPSA match. Like that'll push your training to the next level. So like I showed up to my first match like with my inside the waistband holster, and just like my normal, like just my gun that I would carry every day. And so I didn't even get a USPSA number. So I didn't even get classified until the following year. So
Okay.
I didn't really care about the classification. I I think I was probably just too cheap to buy a USPSA membership. That was probably the driving factor behind that.
Yeah, well, they did do a price increase, so it went from like $25 to like 60. So I
Yeah.
mean, obviously.
And I was like, oh, if I don't need that to shoot the matches, like, oh yeah, I know there's this whole like classification thing. Like there's this thing called, oh, like you could be a grandmaster or something. I was like, whatever. Like I
Like
just want,
I'm just
these matches are $15. Like I can keep showing up on the weekends and having fun. Um, and then what actually made me get the USPSA number is because I wanted to shoot a major match,
yeah.
and they're like, you got to get a number for that. I was like, oh, fine. All right. So at that
Okay.
point, I'd shot like 10 or 11 matches before I got a
Yeah, and
number.
mostly locals there at Nampa and around that area.
Yeah, it was pretty much, we had at the time, we had three, we had three clubs locally. One of
Okay.
them, I think one of them gave up their affiliation with USPSA that year. So I only shot there once. But other than that, yeah, two locals. So that's all I did for 2023.
2023, and then 24 rolls around, you get your member number and you shoot a major. So what's that first major that you shoot?
It was Area 1 in Winnemucca.
Okay. Gotcha. And did you shoot with like a normal rig?
Oh, that's a good question. So at a certain point, I I figured, well, I'm having enough fun with this, and I would say I'm naturally kind of competitive. So after
I would
shooting
say so.
yeah,
I would say so.
like just like I grew up playing sports. I have two younger brothers who I was always competing with, and it didn't really matter what it was, but like it's kind of I just grew up being competitive. So I figured like, okay, I'm gonna get a belt that I just have for USPSA. I was like, once the gun's out of the holster, like, because I'm still coming at it from like this. Okay, like I want to be practical with with a practical gun. But I was like,
Yep.
it's not going to make a difference if it's coming from, inside the waistband or if it's coming from uh, a holster with no retention or whatever. So
Yeah.
I switched pretty early on. I didn't get I forget what kind of belt I got. It wasn't a very good one. But I'm trying to remember. Before Area 1, I think I had like a double alpha ratchet belt or something like that.
Okay, so you'd maybe upgraded some stuff. So it would be 2024 Area 1.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
I got I got the member number in January, and I think Area 1 was in May
yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
And what was your impression of shooting a major match? Your first major or Area 1?
The So I missed out on some of what major matches have to offer because I shot the staff match.
Okay.
So I was late. I didn't understand like registration, how soon you have to jump on those things before they fill up. So by the time I wanted to, I was like, oh, I should go shoot that. The match was full with a wait list, and I ended up getting a staff match spot. So
Okay.
it wasn't, besides the stages looking more professional and there being more of them, I didn't see a huge difference between like our local matches and in that match, just because I was on a squad with a handful of people that I shot locals with, and it
Yep.
was, you lose some
It
of
was
that.
your
Like,
local club. Or no, well, it was one. Had you shot at that club? That wasn't at Nampa,
no,
but
no, I had, yeah. So that was my first time like traveling to a match.
yeah. Okay.
But I mean, there were obviously there were some differences, but not a ton. I mean, for the staff match, like, there weren't very many people there. There were only a handful of squads shooting. Like, it didn't feel
Were
like a
y-
huge thing.
were you at this point looking at other people shooting major matches? Like, did you have an idea of what good at the sport was? Like, when what is the framing for that going into Area 1? And then like what was that after Area 1 as well? Looking at videos and comparing yourself to others who shot it.
That's a good question. So at that point, I didn't know. I didn't know a lot of like the names of other shooters in the sport. I didn't know. I didn't really know what was out there in terms of skill. So
Okay. That's very interesting to hear. And
yeah,
this
like
is a year this is 1 year basically before you shoot Carry Optics Nationals this year and finish fifth.
yeah,
Basically a year.
yeah.
So that's very interesting to be because you're still really new and you're looking at this and you're like, I don't know who these people are. And so then it'd be like, that's funny. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, like I didn't know exactly what like sort of like good looked like on a national like scale, and I didn't know where I would fall in comparison to that until I shot everyone. So that
Yeah.
year, I believe Jacob Hetherington won first overall at Area 1,
Okay.
and I think I shot like 85% of him, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, honestly. So I remember being done with, okay, so day one, stage number one, my first stage at a major match. It was sort of it was sort of a memory stage. And I had a great stage plan. I went through and I get done with the stage and I knew that I overshot one position and I think I hit a barrel and I was like, oh, that wasn't great. Anyways, my time was great. I double engaged a target and skipped one. And I had the barrel strike. So I ended up with 3 mics and an FTSA, my very first stage. And I was like, okay,
Yeah. Ouch.
all
You're like,
right,
all right,
all right.
on we
Well,
go.
it's all uphill from here, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that match was, I shot, I thought I shot terribly. I think I ended up with like 4 or 5 4 or 5 mics, that penalty. I had a foot fault. It was not a great match. Not a great match.
Okay. But were you fast? You
Yes.
must have been kind of fast.
Yes. So that's kind of what I learned from that. So my shooting at that point, and something changed after after Area 1. So when we were chatting before, and I asked like, hey, like what do you want to talk about? And you said, well, I want to talk about like your training and how it's progressed. And so
Yeah.
I started looking back. So I started because I remember there being a time when there was a change in my shooting in the results at matches. So like a certain point, the hits caught up to the speed. So it was, and it was right around that time, Area 1 in 2024. And so I started like looking, I was like, okay, cause like I'll pretty regularly take videos of me shooting, in practice. So I kind of started looking through those to see like, was there something that changed in my practice around that time? And I was looking, and what I saw was I started to incorporate movement into everything, whether it was shooting on the move, or coming into a position, or setting up, 3 different positions that I had to go to. But it was like everything had movement in it. And somewhere along the way, that's when the hits started to catch up with me, and like I wouldn't finish a like a local match, say with with 2 or 3 mics. Like they would the hits tidied up.
Okay. And so like before the hits tidied up, is this the time? I mean, are you're doing dry fire for training and stuff like that at
Yeah.
that point
Yeah.
throughout that year? And you're just like doing whatever is fast? Do you have a timer, whatever feels fast? What are you doing there? I'm talking
So
like before Area 1, when you're just like kind of getting through locals and with maybe 3 penalties, a bunch of stuff like in that phase. Are you dry firing with the timer and everything?
yeah, so I first started well, when I first bought a shot timer, my my shooting instantly started to change for the better, because that gives you
Yep.
a you know that gives you a reliable data for a super important element of shooting, right? So
Yeah.
I first bought a shot timer in 2020,
Okay, so you
and
were familiar with it.
yeah, and I was doing dry fire probably 4 or 5 days a week for 30 minutes a day for a couple years before I shot my first match. But
Yeah. Nice.
I wasted so much time. Like I dry fired stuff that like I could have been doing so much more with that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I okay, a bulk of my time dry firing before I started shooting USPSA was exclusively slide lock reloads.
Nice. Nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then I could measure the time. I didn't have a shot timer, but I had it one on my phone app, and so I could
Yep.
measure the time that the slide closed. So I'd be
Yeah.
like, I can do that faster.
Yeah.
That was it. It was like, oh man. I mean, that's not like that was harmful, but it was like there was other things that you could do.
Yep. So very similar to you. The well, almost exclusively it was draws and reloads. And
Yeah.
towards the towards the end, I remember I had these because I would just do it. It was in college, and I was at this house with there were 5 guys who lived there, and in my room was not very big, but I had these. I think I got them at Cabela's. They were USPSA targets that were printed out on a fairly large piece of paper. They were really small. Like the target size themselves are probably smaller than like even like a half scale USPSA target. But I had 3 of those. And
Yep.
towards the end there, I had them on the wall. So I had like 3 targets, and I would draw transition between them, reload, and then transition between them again. And that was as complex as it got.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, I wanted to get we'll get back into this because something changed like you mentioned where you started to hit the targets
Yeah.
at matches. Uh but all of that, like when you're at a match, when you're shooting, because it's hard to get this sense from, like, because I've only shot with you once. Are you battling that in your mind to be pushing speed, or are you where are you just getting, what's your default? Like if you panic on a stage, what's your default?
My
Like speed
yeah.
or accuracy?
My default is to fall back and not go as fast as well, I'd like to say, yeah, my default is to fall back on shooting good points, but it's like my default is to slow down.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And
Cuz
sometimes I
like
shoot better points, but sometimes not.
right, because like as we get better and better, we understand that you can still shoot really really fast and have really good points. Um and
Right.
it's just one of those feels more panicked than the other. Or for me it does. Like it feels like, cuz the processing speed is happening very quickly, and I'm sure I'm hitting things, but that feels uncomfortable. And so if I notice for myself, if I notice that I feel uncomfortable, then I'll just slow down. Um,
Yeah.
and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Anyway, I because that was hard to tell at least from some of your videos and stuff, because you'll now go to, I remember there was something that you posted and you went to a match and maybe you said something about you were just pushing speed really really hard at a match, and you were dragging off like multiple targets on stages.
Yeah.
um and so I want to hear a little bit about how you treat local matches and how you recognize what you need to do there to make improvements at major matches.
So I think my view of local matches has definitely shifted from when I first started, and it's like, oh, that's all I know. Like this is the competition, right? Like there's, you know, 70 people out here on this one Saturday a month, like, and this is everybody in the local area who cares about this stuff and is good about shooting. Like this is the match, like
Yeah.
this is where you need to be good at. And that obviously shifts when you shoot something bigger than a local match. Like, okay, whether it's, a state match or an area match or nationals or whatever, it's like, okay, that is more important than the match you can go shoot at any local club, any given Saturday of the month. My sort of the way I view local matches has definitely shifted more towards um, treating them as practice, or maybe treating them as practice for something specific. I think you could treat them as practice, but what you're practicing is, shooting like 95% of your performance flawlessly on demand throughout the 6 stages.
Right. Right.
Which
You could do that.
Right. Which wouldn't be, that might be the same way you view uh how you want to perform at a major match. Like you could try to practice that mentality.
Now, so I want to pause for a second. Do you feel like if you went out and shot a local, uh, or maybe you did today, um, maybe not. Do you feel that pressure that you do you feel the same pressure at a local that you do at a major match?
No, and it bums me out.
No. Yeah, it bums me out too. But so that's where it gets tricky, where it's like, sure, you can practice your consistency and shooting 95% or whatever at a local match, but it's not the same.
No. That's a
And
great
so
point.
it's like, which, yeah, and it bums me out. It bums me out too.
And this has been an interesting, so there's something different. There's something that changes, right? When you go up and they tell you make ready, and I mean it's pressure that you put on yourself, right? Because nobody's putting pressure on you. Like it's the same thing, whether it's a local or a major, but whether it's you care more, you have more invested, whatever it is, there is something that's different at a major, right? And now all of a sudden your heart rate's at 150 instead of 75.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And that's a different you're gonna feel different shooting that stage with your heart rate and your adrenaline going than you would, you know, shooting at a normal resting heart rate at a local match.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very
And
different.
and what's interesting, I think, is like I I feel different shooting the stage, feeling that way at a major match. Like I don't know what it is, but do you have? So I've had this conversation with other people and asked them if they sort of experience something similar. So I'll ask you, when you go up to a stage, it doesn't matter at what level match, but if you go up to a stage and you are nervous, like your heart rate is going, your adrenaline is going, when you shoot that stage, and say it takes you 15 seconds to shoot that stage, does it feel like something changes in your mind where like your processing speed speeds up so fast where you have time to have conscious thoughts about what you are doing in an amount of time that's impossible to have that thought? Like you take a 20 split at a target and you immediately take another makeup shot because you didn't like where the dot was when you pulled that trigger. But like in that, say the makeup shot was a point two. Like in that point two, you had enough time to tell yourself, hey, dummy, you weren't looking at the center of the target and your dot flicked over to the delta, put it back in the center and shoot again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I most of the time do experience that kind of stuff at nationals or at major matches. And now that you mention that, I don't think I experienced that as much at locals, but I have talked to other people, and it'll be sometimes the most random thoughts too. I remember a friend of ours, it was at nationals in 22, and he was thinking about like it was not related to shooting, but it was like during in the middle of a stage thinking about like gummy bears or something like that, like just just stuff. Um, but yeah, I've had those same thoughts as far as knowing that I made an error and then knowing what the correction was, but in that split second, i- in the middle of a stage that you were just super amped up for. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, it's interesting.
And I think I'm sure there's somebody who's super nerdy who knows about this stuff and how the brain works, and they could probably tell us what that is. I'm pretty sure it's adrenaline. And I think there's pros and cons to like getting nervous before stage at a big match, like having that adrenaline. I like there's a couple of stages that I can remember specifically where actually one was at Area 1 that we shot together. There was a stage and I was I think I was on deck or in the hole, and right then I was like, man, like I'm nervous. And I remember counting my heartbeat and calculating what it was, and it was like at 160 beats per minute. And I wasn't even the shooter. I was like, whoa, like I am like amped up right now. And that did
Yep.
not go away. I was like trying to like do some like deep breathing, trying to like relax a little bit. And then after a while, I was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna be nervous and my heart rate's gonna be going. Like, let's go for it. And I ended up shooting really well on the stage. And I remember like after the stage, like thinking like, yeah, like I was really like in tune with everything. Like I was processing things really quick. Like everything kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, your body. I've recorded my heart rate for, I think all 2024. I recorded heart rate at matches, and you go through, and I'll see massive spikes on the first stage of the day, and then they fade and they get a little bit lower, but huge spikes at like where my heart rate's 160 at the beginning of the stage, and more often than not, it does not affect the stage result. It's just like you're just more primed. You just have more blood flow into your mind
Yeah.
or whatever it is. Um, and so, yeah, that's, uh, do you remember at Area 1 if that was the first day or the second day?
It was the second day. It
Okay.
was our, I think it was like our fourth stage. It was the one that had it had the balance beams and the wobble bridge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just remember very specifically, like, yeah, like consciously, sort of noting that that's how I was feeling. And when I've told people about that who don't shoot, they're like, wow, like, I wonder, like, are you, I would always ask, like, are you good at like controlling that? Are you good at controlling your nerves or whatever? You know, it's like, well, maybe like sometimes I've found that I try to feel that way on purpose because I think you can kind of like harness it a little bit. I shot a a state match here this year. It was an IDPA state match, and
Mhm.
I I did not. I probably cared as much about that match as just a normal local match, and I was. I remember halfway through, I was like, okay, like I want to try to get nervous on purpose because
Yeah.
I don't feel anything right now.
Yeah. Well, that's, if I didn't feel that kind of uh, self-inflicted pressure at matches, I don't think I would do this at all.
Ooh, interesting.
Like I, because it's a very memorable, very strong feeling that I get at matches. And so if I didn't feel it at all, I don't know. I mean, maybe I would continue to do this, and for whatever reason, like other things would keep me in. Um, like maybe that's not the only reason. But yeah, and it's not like I like it. It's like in the moment, sometimes it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
uh, but there's something that's tied to that, and then especially when you have a really good run under those conditions, it's just like, oh, it's great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's go. Well, one more thing as far as locals go. Have you found, so if you go to a local and you have a specific goal in mind of something that you're going to work on, have you found that can then bring some of that pressure back in? Have you have you felt that before? Or is it still like it's a local, I'm just working on this thing?
You know, I think the more that's that's interesting. Something that I used to do is before a local, like driving in, I would be listening to a podcast or listening to music or whatever, and then like 5 or 10 minutes before I got there, I'd turn it off and I'd think like, okay, like I'd think about the match, like I would set goals, like, okay, what do I want to do? Like, what am I going to focus on? And
Yep.
that was more early on, and that wasn't normally like looking at the matches practice like with a specific like, okay, I'm going to shoot everything that I possibly can on the move regardless of if it's a good stage plan or not. Like it wasn't like that. It was like, okay, I want to like do well at this match. And I remember like I would like think like, okay, like I want to whatever, you know, I want to make sure that I only pull the trigger on that target when the sight is where I need it to be, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
And then I'd go into that match like with these like things that I was like looking for out of my shooting. I wonder, and I haven't done that recently. I think that would be interesting to do with like a specific thing, like really like put pressure on myself to do one thing, like, okay, shoot everything on the move or whatever it is. And then think about that before each stage and see if that like puts pressure on myself again. And then I start to feel it again. That would be interesting to try.
Yeah, I wonder if it would, I mean, I know I want it to happen. I mean, this is me wishing that I could get the same out of locals that I can at majors, but I know that I felt it before on like classifiers where I know like here's what the score is that I think I can do on this, and here's the time I think I need to lay down, whatever it is, and then I'll get up to that stage, I'll get the make ready, and then my heart rate's through the roof, and I'm like, ooh, cool. Um, and so
Interesting.
I'm wondering now, with something specific like that, if I can bring in some of that pressure, but for a different reason, like a expectation on myself to perform whatever it is that I think that I need to work on
Hmm.
at that local or whatever. Anyway, I'm just curious for you as well. I mean, we're coming into a season where there's not a lot of majors going on, and people are going to some locals and stuff like that. And it's a time, I don't know. It's interesting to work on this stuff and to think about it.
If you
Um,
find a way to make yourself feel like that at practice, let me know. That would be crazy.
yeah. What did I do? There was like, it only worked once, where it was earlier this year, where uh, I was doing two runs
Oh, we
on
talked
a
about
stage.
this. You know,
Did we talk about it?
we had a similar conversation at Area One. This is where you put yourself in the
Yeah.
practice score twice and you go head to head with yourself.
I got nervous like
Yeah.
3 times. That was it.
Huh. Huh.
Only 3 times. And then after that, I just felt nothing.
See, yeah, that would be. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, it was my first run versus my second run. So then what would happen was it would be on the same, I would run the same stage twice, and my first run I was nervous because of I would then be how I would think I might feel on my second run. And my second run I was nervous because of whatever I did on my first run. And it was great. It was great for a short amount of time. I think I abused that uh a little too much. I should have recognized the power that it held and then used it sparingly, Um but anyway, let's get on to nationals for this year, because this was your first nationals.
That's right.
Correct. Okay. So you went into this match following area one, where I said to you, like, Sam, you just shoot like that and you'll be on the super squad.
Yeah.
and you shot even better than that, and you definitely put yourself on the super squad at your first nationals. And I want to hear a little bit about expectations going into nationals for you. Like, regardless of what I said, what did you what did you think you could do going into nationals, and then how did that affect, like those couple weeks leading up to nationals, as far as like training, and as far as those thoughts that you have about matches in general?
So, in terms of expectations, so I
Yeah.
didn't. There was a lot like I didn't know. Like there was going to be a lot of people that I was shooting against who I'd never shot against before. So I think Area One was within a month of nationals. So getting to and that was I think that Area One was a pretty stacked Area One. Like there was a lot of
It was abnormally packed,
yeah,
yeah.
there was a lot of talent there, which was great because that was good to I think like our squad. What you were there, Christian was there,
Jacob.
Jacob, Aaron, June Kim, Eric Steiner. Like we had a lot of people um, all shooting together, which was a blast. But there was still
Was.
going to be there's going to be a lot of people that I'd never shot against. So what I was especially after we got done with that match, you're like, oh, just like shoot it like that again, and you'll get the super squad. And I was like, that was kind of like my secret goal was like, okay, like let's see if I can sneak into the top 10. Like that would be cool. Uh, and and then I was like, okay, like I want to shoot in the top 20. Like if you came up and asked me what my goal was, that's what I would have told you. And secretly to myself, I would have thought like, wow, really get to the top 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So how that influenced my training, I think honestly, I just ended up training more than
Yeah.
I would have. And then we talked about like, using locals as practice. So actually a guy who was on my squad for nationals, he's our match director. His name's Trent Miller.
I
And
know. Yeah. Yeah.
Trent, right? Okay, so Trent's our match director. He shoots a ton of majors. He travels internationally for IPSC stuff. So we definitely have very high quality local matches, and he opens it up for people to be like stage build leads. So I've been building stages for like probably a year and a half, and so I always like pick something that I want to work on. Like, hey, like I sucked at that. Okay, next match, I'm going to build a stage that's going to force me to do all those things that I was bad at.
Yep.
So the matches that we had locally leading up to nationals were all really hard. They were we definitely like overdid it in terms of like, because this nationals wasn't like something crazy difficult.
No.
So like I remember the stage that I built, I think it was the weekend before maybe. They were, if someone went up and measured them, there were no shoot partials on the IPSC targets at like 35 yards. If you went up and measured, there probably wasn't 25% of the A zone showing. Like it was just like ridiculously hard. And so like and then we show up to nationals. We're like, oh, there's like
There's
7
like
no shoots
no
the whole match.
partials.
Yeah. So did you? So I didn't. It took me like till day 2 to realize that there was no painted hardcover because it was the waterproof targets. And
Yeah.
I guess they haven't figured that out yet. But I was like, hey, have you guys noticed that there's not a lot of hardcover? Like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, maybe it's because they're the waterproof target. Hey, great, we finally had waterproof targets at the nationals. It didn't rain
I
at.
know.
But
I guess that cool. That was cool.
yeah, no, I mean it's like at least we got them, But I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I didn't really care. Like I think they did some clever stuff with like hardcover steel and stuff, but
Yeah. I mean, in open targets, like you can, people find a way to mess up on those too. I mean, like,
yeah,
there is. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't bad. Definitely wasn't bad. It was not a terrible match at all. I think it tested things pretty well. Um, so you get up to you get 2 nationals, and what are like your first stage, because this is only, you can only experience this once, your first stage at nationals. Where are you at as far as like that pressure that you've put on yourself on that stage? Like, do you remember that?
yeah. I was definitely like I was nervous for sure. Like I remember I was definitely feeling it, but I wasn't like I wasn't scared of that feeling. I'm not saying like I was like seeking after that feeling, but like I wasn't
Well, you
like,
weren't
oh
fighting
no.
it.
What's that?
It doesn't seem like you were fighting it. Like
No,
we talked about earlier, where it's like, okay, well, here's this feeling. If I battle it right now, then it gets to that out of control point. And like, I mean, I felt that on stages before, where I feel like I'm outside of it, and then that doesn't work out well. Um,
interesting.
and so you were there, you kind of just accepted it, and
I was
you
definitely aware.
shot.
I was definitely aware of it. And so I'd set goals for like for my shooting at that match. And
Okay, let's go.
my
Let's go with those.
my
What were those goals?
so my goal was like don't swing for the fences. It's a 3-day match. There's 20 stages. Like just relax and throttle it back. And that's that's pretty much what I ended up doing. Um, there were definitely stages where having sort of that mentality, um, like cost me some points, like where it's like I throttled back like too much.
Yeah.
And kind of like, so I had that goal in mind. Like, okay, it's more of a marathon, not a sprint. Like, there's a lot of stages over several days. Like, just throttle back a little bit, shoot your game. I also was like, I think I was a little bit too concerned with shooting a penalty-free match as well,
Mm-hmm.
which 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 caused me to slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. I know the feeling.
Yeah,
And did that? I mean, I don't have the scores fresh, but did you shoot a penalty free match?
I did.
Yeah. Did that? I know for me, I felt it before, and I know Jeff talked about it. Jeff Cawthon, who when he talked about his, I'm going to plug it again. He did a solo podcast. I don't know if you listened to it. Uh, and
Every
it was really
time,
good. It's a
every
very good
time,
podcast.
every time you've said, listen to that podcast, I've gone and listened to it. So now I've listened to it 18 times.
Yeah, exactly. We need to go back and listen to that again. But Jeff talked about how he had shot a clean match, which he doesn't do normally, but he started to feel the pressure build on that
Mm.
as the further the match went on. This is for World Shoot. Did you feel that towards the end, or was it just like a global, like what was that as far as the penalty free thing?
So halfway through day 3, do you remember that one? I forget exactly which stage it was. I think it was maybe stage 4. It was the one. It was all IPSC targets. It had the top swinger. That was, uh, it was kind of it was a
Yeah,
tight top. Yeah, okay,
I think I shot 4 at that.
dude. I shot I shot 4 at that one too, and
Hmm.
I think I still that was bad. That was my worst stage in the match by far.
I
So
was
that one, like walking up to that swinger, I was like, I took 4 shots on it. The fourth one, I called a mic on it, and I was like, "This is taking too long. I got to leave. This is not working out." Like the first
yeah.
shot, I was like, "Oh, that's a little too far." Like that came out faster than I thought. The second one was like, "Whoa!" I was still thinking about the first shot. I was like, "Definitely need another one." Third shot came out, and I was like, "Yeah, but I think I still need one more from the first two." So it came back the fourth time, shot it, and I was like, "That was a terrible shot." Like I'm gonna stand here all day and shoot this thing. I need to move on. I walk up. I either had a Charlie Delta on that one or had 2 Deltas on it. And one of the Deltas was like an overlay. Like he had to overlay it to make sure it wasn't a mic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I
was like,
think
oh, yeah.
that was my worst stage of the match as well. And because the first 2 I called as miss, and I was like, I better put 2 on here. And I was like, hit, and then hit. I was like, all right. So, and that you shot at that on your 3rd day.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, okay, well, like I thought for sure I was gonna have a miss on that stage for sure. After shooting it, walked up, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like surprise Delta, like
Still
great.
penalty free.
Yeah, like woo, let's go. And at that point, I think there's like 3 stages left. I don't even really remember what the rest of the stages were, but I kind of at that point I didn't really feel like the pressure of like, oh, like keep shooting a penalty free match, but it was definitely like I wasn't watching scores super closely. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't even really checking them. But like I knew actually all I did, now that I remember, all I did is at the end of day 1, I looked because I was shooting a different zone that you guys were. So,
Yes.
but there were a couple other people who I knew were good that I hadn't shot against before, but I knew were good who were shooting in my zone. Eric Shaw was shooting in my zone and someone else, but I forget who. So at the end of every day, I remember looking and seeing who else was in my zone. Well, and I had Nathan Barnes was on my squad. So
Yeah.
I remember looking
Okay.
at the end of each day to see how I was stacking up with the people who were in my zone.
Yeah, we forgot to say that Nathan Barnes shot area 1 with us as well.
Yeah, he was on our squad too.
And Nathan finished what, 7th?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah. That's right. Yeah, he was on our squad at Area 1.
Sorry, Nathan, we forgot about you there.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Unintentional.
Have you had him?
Okay, so
Have you had him on the show yet?
no, not yet, not yet. Might have to do that.
He'd be fun to talk to. Um, yeah. So I remember like checking and looking and seeing, um, at the end of each day to see how it was stacking up with those guys who were shooting the same zones. And then towards the
Yeah,
end of day 3, though,
you were
I knew,
overlapping.
yeah, and I knew. So that was the only day where I could look and see what scores you guys had put up on those stages, like because it was the only zone that you guys had already completed that I hadn't shot yet. Because
Yes.
I started on zone 2,
Yep.
so did zone 2, 3, and then 1, and you guys went 1, 2, 3. So final day, I could see um what you guys. So I was looking and seeing like okay, like what the high hit factors were, and sort of trying to gauge like what the time should be or what the hit should be, and yeah, so getting towards the end, like I knew that I was doing well, and I was like, so like that pressure was kind of building on me. So I was like, okay, like there's like 2 or 3 stages left, like just kind of like keep going, just sort of hold on
Yeah.
and like don't make any big mistakes.
Yep. Yep. And you held on, and you didn't
Yeah,
make any big mistakes.
yeah.
Uh, and when you finished the match, like right after you shot your last stage, what was that like? Then finishing your first nationals, what did you feel? Do you remember that moment?
Kind of felt relieved. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like I remember like shooting the last shot on the last target, and the it was either the second to last target. Yeah, I think it was the second to last target. Um, there was it was like an upper thirds like no shoot partial and then an open target. So the no shoot was the second to last target. And I came in, I transitioned that target, shoot one good shot, and then I go. And I still don't fully know what happened, but it happened. It's happened to me 2 or 3 times, and twice it happened. It happened at nationals, where I don't know if it's like trigger freeze or something. I think it must have been trigger freeze. But basically, I like get the gun ready for the second shot, and then the gun just like dips, and I don't shoot. But I
Yeah.
see the sight dip into the no shoot and then come back up, and I'm like, "Whoa! Like, what are you doing?" So like, you can see like in the video, you see me swing over, shoot one, gun dips, comes back up, shoots the second time, and then I shoot the last target. And I was like, "Wow! I almost just totally plugged that no shoot, like a deep no shoot on the second to
Yeah.
last target on the last stage." So I remember being like relieved. I was like, "Okay, like we're done, great." And then I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go take my gun off and put it in the bag, and then yeah,
Yeah, I can relate for sure with that feeling of being relieved. At nationals like that before. Yeah. And it's so interesting. Every nationals is different, and you feel different things at different points during the match. Um, but yeah, okay. So you finish there, and then you find out that you finished fifth. Uh, at what point, like when you're like, are you refreshing at that point? Where was that AM or were you PM?
I was PM.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah. So I went, and I think somebody on our squad was like, "Hey man, like you did really well." And so I remember like we still had like half our squad to shoot. So I pull out my phone, I like hit refresh, and like practice score wasn't working. And I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
whatever." And then I think I went and taped some targets, and then I think Nathan still had to shoot, so I wanted to watch him shoot. And he shot, and then finally refreshed, and I was like, okay, like, and it said I was fifth. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I was like, well, let me look, like, has everyone finished shooting? Like obviously people are still shooting, but I was like, oh, I wonder if the super squad has finished shooting yet.
Yeah.
And I went through, and I think there was maybe like one person who still had to shoot, or maybe everyone was done shooting. I don't really remember, but
Yeah. Yeah. So there you are. And your first nationals, and now going forward, because you finished that match and you're like, well, I finished fifth. And like where are you at as far as like continuing through this and it's tricky right now because this is the time of the year where you don't have maybe a match coming up, and so it's a little hard to gauge this sense of expectation in the future. But where are you at with this as far as goals go? Because I am curious about that. Like, what do you want to like deep into this? Where you want to go with the sport? What are you thinking?
So very specifically, what I'm looking for, and this is kind of separate from like where I want to do like where I would like to like finish in certain matches is like I know for the near future, like specifically what I'm looking to see improve in my shooting.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so I I'm gonna be like pushing, like I want to have another big like push towards speed to the point where it's like the wheels kind of fall off, and then I have to like sort of be patient and wait for like the hits to catch back up, sort of like we were talking about earlier in
Yeah.
2024. Like I want another one of like those moments where yeah, like because
I,
and that is where like specifically too, that is where like I'm losing too, is time. Like I need to go faster.
yeah. So how are you gonna do that? What's your game plan for it?
So something that I've noticed um is, and I've noticed this in practice, but also in dry fire. Like I could set up something where like I like dry fire a lot. I also like enjoy dry fire too. I don't have quite like the basement setup that you do. I'm very
You got
jealous of
a
your
pretty
dry
sweet
fire setup.
outdoor setup though. You get
Yeah,
to run
yeah. So
around
I like,
in real dirt, you know?
yeah, that's true. That's true. But like I'll set up like, like I'll set up like a 24 round stage in the house or outside. Something where it's going to take me, 12, 15 seconds to get through.
Hmm.
Um so I'll set something, but it could even be like a smaller scale. Like maybe I'll set something up where there's say 3 positions, 3 targets each position, right?
Yep.
So um and I'll start it, like I'll do it without a part time. Like I'll shoot it in dry fire. And then I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna set, like I want to push through this faster. I'm gonna come up with a part time. Right. So then I'll kind of guess. I'm like, okay, this is gonna, let's say this is 7 seconds. So I'll set the part time to 7 seconds. I'll do it, and maybe I'm way off, whatever. I'll kind of calibrate it. And then let's say it ends up being like, say 6.5 seconds. Okay, so I do it and it's really close to 6.5 seconds. I don't know if you've experienced this. I'd be curious. But like I'll tell myself like, okay, do this as fast as you can. Like do that, just do it faster. And then I'll do it, and I'll do it like, and I will be like done and back in the holster before the part time goes off.
Oh yeah, totally. I've 100% experienced that before, which then frustrated me.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm like, why did I not do that the first time? Like I was trying the first time. Like I was
Exactly.
pushing, but I had to like tell myself to go like do that faster. And I did. And
Yeah,
I was like, I should be able to do that the first time.
yeah, yeah. And so yeah, this was I mean, it's going to be a continued thing for me as well, but to make myself do the thing the best I can on the first run. And it's not easy because there's all like all of the repetitions that you do before kind of like iron out you can clean so much up, and then you're like, well, now I'm going to go for it, and then it's easier. And so yeah, trying to figure out how to iron out the details before you even do your first run
Yeah.
is,
Cause like that would be
well,
the
it's just
equivalent to doing it on a stage.
exactly. So it seems like a useful skill. And yeah, so what have like where are you at with that? What have you figured out there?
So I've been thinking about that more. I was like, okay, so today, so I went out and I practiced today, and I said it was very simple. I wanted to work on I wanted to work on some targets at 15 yards specifically. But it was simple. I had two positions. Each position had two targets. And I was just going to step in, shoot the two, run over, shoot the two. And so I said to myself, I was like, okay, like I remember driving to practice. I was like, the first run that I do today, I want to tell myself to do it as fast as I can. Like I want that to be the fastest run I do all day. I don't want to 4 runs in say, okay, shave half a second off this. Like I want that to be the fastest run at the start. And it was somewhat successful. It wasn't the fastest run of the day, but it was faster than I think it would have been if I had not told myself to do that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then the other, I don't know what I've been, because you can tell yourself to go faster, right? Like, because like, okay, I want to go faster. I want to shoot all of the stages just collectively. I want like to shoot them faster. I want my total time at the end to be smaller. How do you
Yep.
do that? How do you do that? Right. So I think like you have to figure out specifically, because there's probably specific things like, do you need to actually run faster? Do you need to shoot the gun faster? Do you need to transition faster? I mean, sure, saying all of that would be great, but there's probably like an area that has the most amount of meat on the bone for you, depending on how
Yeah.
you shoot. Right.
Right. Right. And so in for me, I know that it helps to be specific about it because if I'm not, then I'll put too much effort onto areas that don't need it, like
Mm,
narrow transitions or something, where I'll just like auto put a lot of effort into it, and then it's actually slower because I went like pow pow, pow pow,
yeah.
when normally it would have just been like pop 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 pop, between a couple targets. But yeah, so where I place my uh, go faster has to be specific.
Yeah.
Um, and and it has to be in a place that's worth it too. Like
Mm,
shooting, like I was working on the other day, forcing myself to shoot early on entry,
yeah.
and figuring out how to make myself shoot at a specific point that I wanted to start shooting. But to do that I had to look at a place on the ground like 4 feet before that, so that I could actually then start shooting at the spot that I intended to do. And for me, I think it's gonna be stuff like that. And I think the challenge, at least for me, and I don't know if you've experienced it, is just identifying that stuff on a stage that you've never shot before, that maybe you
Mm,
didn't even build, you know. And it's
yep.
like, well, where do I save time on this stage that I've never seen before? And this is why this game is so interesting, but
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
because like if you build the stage, like I'll find myself in practice all the time, being setting something up that I know the challenge and I know where to save time on it.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tricky. Do you train with other people? Do you shoot with other people in practice?
Yes, yes, and no. For the most part, no. Um, I do have one guy locally that pretty consistently um will shoot together. But most of the time, no. And if we do, it'll be me setting everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's tricky which is why matches are good, but
Yeah,
still.
yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
sometimes like because normally like I'll have one bay that I like to build stages in, and then sometimes I'll randomly pick another bay because I want to see what someone comes up with in that bay, and then I'll go over there and and sometimes like okay like whatever, but then sometimes like wow like I would have never thought of this, and yeah that's interesting. Like this requires an interesting type of shooting that I wouldn't have come up with.
yeah, yeah. There's got to be value in training with other guys. I know I try to do that as much as possible, but I live far away from most people, and so it's tricky.
Yeah,
But whenever I do train with Saul is the guy that I train with, and like he'll come up with stuff, and so we'll do our best whenever we train together to be like, no, you pick the thing now, and then I'll pick the next thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's this place of finding more time is yeah, it's very interesting to me. Um, so we go into next year. You like this? Are you? I guess what I'm trying to ask is when are you going to let up on that, if at all, on that
Ooh.
speed piece? I don't know if there's a I don't think there's a wrong answer at all. I'm just curious what your first thought is on it.
My thought right now is I'll let up on it. Like I'll let up on it when I step up to the first stage of the first major I shoot next year. So
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard people say like, okay, well, like in 2 weeks before XYZ match, you're not going to get any better.
Yeah, I've heard that all the time. Yeah.
Right. And I've never trained that way. Cause I'm like, well, if you're not going to get, let's say you're going to shoot 3 times before in the 2 weeks before a match, right? Or maybe it's more, but let's say you're going to shoot 3 times in the 2 weeks before a big match. If you're not trying to get better in those 3 practices, like, well, if are you ever going to get better in your practice? Like, if you're going to
Yeah.
practice 3 times in the off season, like, are you going to go to those and say, nah, well, I'm not going to get better in these 3 practices, so no point in
I
pushing.
I've always gone and maybe it's dry fire, maybe it's live fire, but like I've gotten better in like 30 seconds before. Like come
Yeah,
on.
like I think you learn. So I was having this conversation with somebody recently. Um, actually, I was teaching, and he was asking me about my practice, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't remember the last time I had a practice where I didn't shoot a no shoot." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I mess up in practice every time, and that's how I get better. Is like I want to identify why I messed up. Right? Most of the time, you know right away, like, oh, yep, I messed up. But like that's what I don't know. So like I think like, well, why would I not like if you why would I not want to push all the way up until an important match? Like because the whole point is like you push to a point where you are out of control in hopes that that will uh raise the threshold for what is in your control.
Yeah.
Right. And when you go
Yeah,
to a match
exactly.
and you want to shoot with inside of your control, like, well, okay, if I can make my threshold for what's inside of my control a little bit higher before a big match by trying to get better up until that point, like, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think for me like it's always an ego thing where I will do a ton of pushing and everything and and being aggressive in training. And then I'll get to a match and I'll get scared of messing up. And
Mm,
then I won't let it carry through. And so that's like for me there's another element there that's just like who cares about how you do? Like that's you're the only one who cares. Like I'm the only one who cares.
mm,
And so like the penalty is messing up at a big match. Like that's it. So
right.
for me at least. And so yeah, I like the attitude of not letting up essentially in at all. Um
'Cause I think like
and
I mean, that's like, it's kind of like the whole, like, when you explain to somebody like why this sport will make you better at shooting, right? It's like, well, yeah, it's always easier to slow down. Like, right. Like it's way harder to tell somebody to do what they just did and do it faster. So like if
yeah,
you're
that's yeah.
right, so I don't know. It's like I you already know. Like I don't okay. I don't think you need to go and spend 2 hours and 500 rounds on the range to discover what your comfort level is or like what is in your control. Like you already know when you step up to a stage. Like you know whether or not you can shoot that target with 2 A's on the move. Like you're not questioning like, can I do that? Well, let's find out. Like that would probably be bad. But yeah. So I don't know. Like I think like still shooting in that like on that line of where you're going to mess up. Like, I don't know. I think I wouldn't get as much value out of a practice right before a match where I'm shooting everything way throttled back. And I've done that before. Like, okay, like, well, I'm going to like shoot in match mode, right? And that's like, I didn't really need to do that. Like, that's already like,
Yeah, it's like it's something you already know how to do. And
yeah,
I've done it
exactly.
so many times before. I've been like, all right, well, I've only got a couple more practice sessions before this match. Like, I'll just go out there and shoot, and it's like, eh, it's not. I don't need to do it. Maybe people do because everyone knows themselves more
Yeah,
than, but
that's true. That could, yeah, maybe that's like an individual thing. I don't know. I know for me, like I've had some of my best matches, like, and I'll look back like, oh, like what was that last practice session like? And normally it's
mhm,
like, yeah, I left the range feeling terrible. Like
yeah,
I had a bunch of misses. I shot a bunch of no shoots. Like I messed up this. Like that was horrible.
yeah. I've had some great matches by doing in the last practice session before was shooting some like absurd partials very aggressively on the move and missing them.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was like I don't know if I can do that right now. And then it was like I guess I'm out of rounds for right now. And then it was like I'll go shoot this match. Uh yeah, it doesn't affect it for me. If if anything at all, it carries with me that whatever urgency I had in training to like try and figure something out. And so it's been good. I needed that would mean this is a good reminder for myself right now that that's valuable
yeah. Like I
for
don't
me.
know. Yeah, I think so. Like I like the majority of actually recently I practice and I practice with the guy that I'll practice with a lot of the time, and it was such a good practice. Like everything went right the entire time. Like the pace was good, the hits was good, everything was great. And we were both like, wow, this was an excellent practice. Like this was great. And then we had like a local match the next day, and it was like the worst match I had shot in like probably a year and a half. Uh, but like I think like the majority of the time, probably 90% of the time, like I leave the range uh like today. Like I left the range and I was like I think I was in a worse mood than when I showed up. And I was thinking about that. I was like I just went, I spent 2 hours on the range. It's a nice day. I was shooting guns, like I should be in a great mood. And I was just like so disappointed in myself. I was like, I did not shoot well.
It is interesting and I mean like I think I've always for which is a little bit different. I've always framed that automatically as like, well, that must have been productive then. And so then I'll be like, okay. Um
Right.
uh
Right.
which like you'll come to the realization of after that. But yeah, in the moment sometimes things just suck. Um but yeah, that those are good. That's good. And so I think that I mean, I know for me at local matches sometimes it gets tricky to be able to push hard enough where making like big mistakes happens uh because of that. I think probably because of that feeling. Um even just at locals. Uh
Do you feel pressure at locals because do you feel pressure uh because if you mess up and somebody beats you, like do you feel pressure like that way, like you're showing up and you're not there to compete, right? You're there to use that match for training. Do you feel pressure like, oh, but like if I do mess up because I'm using this as practice, then somebody's gonna beat me?
oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And so it's just like it, I that's something that this year I am making a very like a point to allow myself like I want to put myself at very high risk of losing
Mm,
and be for good reason, because I chose to do because I chose to shoot all these targets while running past them, or whatever, for whatever reason, because I wanted to shoot this partial like with a sub 20 split that I just decided to because I felt like I wanted to, even though it was, it's like not a good idea. Um, to test limits and be okay putting myself at risk for losing, which would be fine because again, who cares?
Right.
But yeah, I for sure feel that pressure, and especially like I've shown up to locals and like made a mistake early on and been like, okay, well, I'll just like shoot careful and clean the rest of the match, and then I'll just win, and it's fine. And it's like, like that was not useful to my own development. Have you? Is it similar for you with locals now, or because I know you've experimented and pushed speed in the past at locals and stuff like that, but what is that like?
Yeah, I think that, and this is kind of like a sort of this like this goal is kind of rekindling, like specifically to use locals to push speed hard to the point where I make mistakes and like live on that edge where it's like, no, like I am gonna go fast no matter what, like no matter the consequences, to the point where I'm okay accepting penalties at this match. I want to live in that zone. Um, and that's something that's sort of starting to come back. The last 2 months I've been shooting production because I was like, oh, it's the off season. I'm going to try something different and apparently torture myself with iron sights. So
Yeah, those things are weird.
yeah, I think I'm hopeful that this is going to make me a better dot shooter. Um, I was doing something interesting yesterday in dry fire and then today in live fire where I would alternate runs between dot gun and irons. So far, like the only thing I can really like definitively say is like irons are bad and dot is good. Um, like like it's made me appreciate dot a lot more. Like you just you see what you need to see from your sights so much
Yeah.
easier, so much faster. Uh,
I shot a local with a single stack gun, and there was a time I transitioned to a target, and I was like, these sights are not aligned.
yeah,
And it was maybe one of those thoughts, I don't know if it was in the moment or not, but it was like if I had a dot there, it would just be on the target in the middle right now. And I have to align these sights because of like the angle that I transitioned the gun over for whatever reason. Like the rear sight was on, but the front sight was definitely not. So anyway, I put them on the target and I lined them up and I pulled the trigger. And yeah, anyway, I know what you're saying.
yeah, they're frustrated. So I'm getting sick of it. I'm looking forward to going back to a dot. But it has been kind of fun. Like, and like the 15 rounds too has been kind of a fun um thing too. Like on a lot of like field courses, having to reload twice and kind of tweak your stage plan around that has been kind of fun. But
Yeah, yeah. 15 rounds is really fun. It's
we
good.
have
And
a
more fun with the dot.
oh yeah.
Yeah, 15 rounds in a dot is fun. Well, IPSC, production optics. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, give me like your 30-second take. What should they do with carry optics and limited optics?
Oh man. I think they should delete carry optics entirely. Just
Okay.
delete it. And then leave limited optics as is.
Yeah.
They won't do that. But yeah, one of them has to go, and it should be carry optics at this point. I think that answer might have been a little different a little while ago, but delete it, and then you just select for world shoot teams. You just select for the dot divisions slide ride from the limited optics qualifiers or the top whatever. So you don't have to have production optics in USPSA to
Okay.
qualify
Right.
people.
Right.
And I want fewer divisions. I want everybody in one division,
Right.
ideally.
Right.
And so let's pick one. And LO is what it should be.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Or I've heard some people say like, okay, we'll make carry optics just production optics, which
Yeah, I
like
could
that
see that too.
it could be. I mean, that would definitely separate the divisions if you if you basically made carry optics low cap. Like that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Would it really separate the two divisions enough? I don't know.
I don't know. I think yeah, you'd still have people shooting production optics, which would then mean that they're not shooting limited optics, which
Right.
means that not everyone is competing against each other.
Right.
This
So
must be a thing. Anyway, I don't know.
didn't so IPSC is adding limited optics, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to call it optics.
Optics.
They approved it. It's just going to be called optics slide ride, and I believe they are going to copy paste the rules from limited optics.
Are they gonna keep? Do you know if they're gonna keep the like the gear setup? Like, does it have to be like behind the hip bones?
I think so. I could
Okay.
be wrong on that, so people can correct me. But I believe they're keeping behind the hip bones.
Okay.
I could be wrong though.
That'll
Um,
be so. So presumably they'll have an optics division at the next World Shoot.
yes, yes, they
That'll
will.
be that'll be interesting to see how that like dilutes the slide right optics field.
I know. I hate diluting things. That's the only thing. It's just like, I just, what I want is for everyone to compete in the same division at every single
Right.
match.
Right.
Um, because I don't like having to filter in matches and put people together. Like right now, because you automatically, at least I do, I will combine LO and CO
Yeah.
at
Right.
matches.
The best is when
Um,
like first place CO beats first place LO.
yeah, yeah.
It's like it's literally just or like yeah, it's just or when second place CO beats first place LO, it's like well okay, just a registration change and literally nothing else, and you'd have a different division winner.
Yeah, like we don't need that. What we need is to look at the scores and then see who's the best. That's what we
Right.
need.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish that could happen, but like yeah, there is no record of USPSA deleting a division, so I don't see it happening. Um,
Oh, interesting. Well, they just got to do something with it to make it like more relevant, like they try to do with L10, right?
right, put a dot on it.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe they'll make you take your dots off of your CO gun, so then you'll have limited optics, but then just you'll just have limited minor. So you'll have limited
Yeah,
major and then limited
that would
minor, and yeah,
that would essentially kill it. So that's acceptable. Yes.
that would work. Yeah, then nobody would shoot. You'd have like nils. Nils would shoot limited minor, and
Limited
that would
minor.
be the only one.
Yeah, that'd be it. So yeah, I'm in favor of that. That would be good.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh man, it's been good talking to you, Sam.
yeah. It's been
Um,
fun.
what else do you have to add? I mean, like, are you I what are really quick your goals for like this next? I mean, we have World Shoot happening in Italy in 2029. Uh, what do you want to do with that? Have you? Because I think I messaged you about that before. Or like, hey man, are you gonna try and qualify for this? Or like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be there.
All right, awesome. I like it.
Absolutely. So yeah, for this next year, I want to shoot more majors. I'd like to shoot all three nationals next year. So factory gun, race gun, and an IPSC. I want to shoot all three.
Nice.
And yeah, with kind of the world shoot in Italy being the light at the end of the tunnel there. So
Yeah, cool. I like it. All right, before we end it, anything else you want to add before we let this go? Because we've been going for an hour and a half almost. You've got stuff going on as far as training.
yeah, I started a training company. So I'm starting to open up some more classes here locally, and then also sort of across the country. People have been reaching out, so setting up people to host me. So going around doing some teaching, which has been fun. So if you want to find, I started a website. It's called whoshotsam.net. If you want to find me, reach out about
Who
hosting.
who shot Sam? And that's also how people find you on. Is that your YouTube as well?
Yeah, that's everything. Um,
Okay.
I like the backstory behind that. I like old country music, and there's an old George Jones song called "Who Shot Sam," and I thought it was funny because my name's Sam and I shoot. So I was like, "Oh, who shot Sam?" That's funny. So that's where that
It's
came
good.
from.
It's just really hard to if you ever have to type in on Instagram, underscores are really annoying. So I don't know.
I don't
That's the only gripe I have. But do you still have them or did you take them out?
I don't know. Somebody has the handle "Who Shot Sam" without the underscores, and I don't know who. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
some bot account or something.
Need
So
to get this bot deleted.
yeah, yeah. Everybody go find "Who Shot Sam" without the underscores and report the account. And then once it get
Yeah, I
deleted,
think that's valid.
somebody message me and I'll steal it. So
That should work. That should work. But yeah, that's good. It's good stuff. Definitely check out. You've got match video that you just only recently started uploading. You put Airy One up there on YouTube.
I've got nationals. I've got Idaho State. I I don't have Area One. I should go back
Go
and do
put that
Area
up
One.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one. I think I have all that. There was one match. Oh no, that was Washington State. There was one match I had where my camera freaked out and didn't get like half the stages, but I think I have all of Area One, so I should put that up there. So
Yeah. So definitely the YouTube stuff is good, and then obviously you're on Instagram as well. Um, People can reach out to you. People can message you with other stuff, and yeah, we'll leave it right here. Again, I will at some point come up with a fancy thing to end the podcast with, like Jeremy has, where he says something like breaking biscuits or whatever. I don't know. That's not my thing.
come on, you gotta have something. Do something with Legos or something.
Oh yeah, go step on a Lego.
There you go.